Okay, today I got this WEN generator. It's a 4050. It's got the 240 outlet. 120, of course. I don't think this one even has the low voltage 12 volt. Some of them have that also. No need, because this one doesn't have a battery on it for starting. It's pull start only. Got this at a garage sale. The guy said, you know, you get a story with everything they want to sell. Said, oh, it's 3, maybe 4 years old. He just ran it one time for a big power outage, and now it's leaking gas when he shuts the fuel shut off on it. It's leaking gas at the fuel shut off. But other than that, everything's good. It barely ran. You know, you get the whole salesman pitch. So already we can find out. I don't know if the camera's washing that out a lot. That says 2014. It's now 2021. So phony baloney story number 1. That is just 3 or 4 years old. More than double that. So let's start with ruling that one out. And then let's just go through it and see what we got. It was a garage sale find. I lowballed them on the price because I saw what was wrong already, and I'll show you. So let me show you what's happening here. And as he said, the fuel flows right out of there, and he quickly turned it off. And I know why he quickly turned it off, because if you look on the other side, the carburetor is leaking even worse than that. So typical engine, probably filled with gasoline, carburetor float screwed up, you know, full oil change, maybe a double oil change to get all that gas out. Most likely it's in there, and then we will see if it even runs. As far as the run time on this machine, I sort of believe it. He said he had it in the backyard under a tarp. That I believe, because of the dirt on the handles and the dirt up here. Said he ran it religiously every 3 months and this and that, but you and I both know that ain't going to work with today's ethanol gas. Like the muffler, the paint isn't completely even burned off it yet, so I have a feeling the run time's real. You can see the age here. The boot for the spark plug, it's just an extra insulation they put on the outside of the regular spark plug cable, has cracked, so that's, you know, just a sign of age. But I just need to get into the carburetor, start there, and work my way over to the fuel system, and we'll check the oil, see how much. Actually, I'll check that now. Let's see if that's completely over full. You would expect that to be over full if you left the fuel on for any length of time, because this is going to flood fuel into your oil. And yeah, she's spilling out, so most likely, I'll admit I don't have it perfectly level right now, but I have a feeling it may have, it looks pretty thick, may have some gas in that, so before I run it for long, I'll make sure to change it. What I'm going to start is, like I say, just take the, start getting into the air box here and head right for the carburetor. Also, the design of this one is about the stupidest I've ever seen. The angle of this, let me get you around the side here. The angle of this rope, you have to pull out on an angle. It's like in there. And there's no way to get it from underneath, really. You probably just rat it out. Really, really poor design. That's what happens when they use one engine on everything they build, probably. Just kind of stuff it behind the panel there. Really, real good. Got a foam type air filter. That's not all rotted. That's a bonus. Those things usually don't last. Little bits of gravel here. I don't know if many of you watch other channels, but if you do, guy does a real good job on these generators. Is a wizard. James Condon. It's from somewhere out east, and he knows every last bit of how to diagnose the power heads, and real expert on these generators if you're interested in watching his channel. I think this one's 8 mil behind here. Fronts were 10s. Fuel tank vent going to the air cleaner box. That's kind of unusual. Choke actuator rod. Disconnect the spring and the actuator. Now I just want to open up this carburetor just to see what it looks like in there, just for giggles, but I do have another one. Take a minute, look over these carburetors. Slot there looks good, the pivot's there. This one's facing the right way. Fuel pickup looks about right. Looks good here. The old one, they had the old tamper-proof adjustment. This one we can adjust, which is good for the low speed. This side, yeah, I think we got the right one. And just to confirm, there's a 14 right there. So that is a 2014 machine. So yeah, the guy claimed it was only a couple years old. Yeah, sure. Alright, now I'm going to just drain the fuel all out. I'm going to try to see what's leaking on this petcock, if we could just fix that or whatever, but once I turn it on, no, it's coming out right the front there, so the seals must be bad inside it. Take out all his old gas. I got it leaning slightly towards this way. Yeah, it's just coming out right on the front of that petcock, so that's bad. And as far as in the tank itself, hopefully you can see some of that. It's just a little yellow, no rust. So he did fair on that part. Okay, and I just went to replace the OEM fuel shutoff because it's leaking around, must be where that shaft goes in. It's not repairable because they got it riveted. It's not designed, you know, I suppose there's probably an O-ring back in there. I could probably drill it out and fix it if I must, but this is the one they gave me in the kit. Of course, like everything Chinese, the parts are no longer available, not interchangeable, whatever. It's supposed to have a large female nut. It has a male nut. There is not double threads. There's not threads inside that. So as usual, junk, Chinese. But I will use their little Chinese fuel hose because I'm going to just run this as is until I can get this part. But that's completely dry rotted, so I will reuse their little hose piece. That part at least fits. Alright, let's get this carburetor put on here. Let's see if it'll match up with the holes. Yes, it does. The gasket stayed on here. I'm happy with that one. Where's that hole at? Yeah, it should be straight down. There it goes. Okay, as far as the gaskets in the kit you get, a lot of times there's several gaskets. This one is the one I need. It's got openings for the vent, the atmosphere vent, and whatever that one is. We need those to be open, or else the thing ain't gonna run right. Let's try that tight. I don't want to go too crazy on those kind of things. I'm leaving this line full length because I don't know what fuel petcock I'll end up with. I'm going to try it just with the leaking one for now. Maybe, you know, if it came out the other side or something, I don't know. Just leave it full length. No need to cut it to length. This is the choke. It goes on, a little pin goes down into the black actuator, and then we'll just reassemble our air box. This is the bracket. Just helps hold the air box steady. Guess I could have got them all lined up first and then tightened it. There she goes. Good, good. This has got a little cutout here. All I'm trying to prove for today, because I missed one piece. All I'm trying to prove for today, like I say, is yes, this will still leak. I don't have the part. I don't have those as spares laying around. But the fact of the matter is, I want to make sure this generator head is good and the motor is good before I spend that additional money now trying to find more parts. I want to prove that it's good, otherwise I'm just wasting money buying a custom part that probably only fits a couple generators and all for nothing maybe. So let's make sure it runs and then I'll order this if needed. Give her some go-go juice. that thing's tight. Well, I guess I shouldn't have touched the fuel valve that I knew was leaking, because now it's really pouring out of there. Whatever used to be a O-ring, I can't even test that. I can't even test that engine like that. That's pouring out too fast. So, wait and see. I will get an auxiliary fuel can, because this ain't gonna work. Alright, I got that little spare gas tank there hooked up with the fuel line directly to the carb. Let's see what this thing can do. Choke closed. The fuel's already on. Engine switch on. I think that's all this one should need. First full, unbelievable. Sounds good too. Let me bring you down there. That's bolts. That's hurt. I got a little space heater here. What it does. We're still just a little high on the speed. And by the way, that heat feels good. I have to turn the engine speed down some. Okay, so we got an engine that sounds like a brand new one. Runs smoothly, no surging even under no load, which means I don't have to adjust the carburetor at all. And then the only thing I got to do is, okay, so this is 4,050, so it's really like a 3,800 continuous load. So usually you bring them about half load, and the hertz should be, you know, about 60 is the right number you want to hit, but it's going to be a little higher than that if you're running a small load. The engine does when it gets under load, it does slow down slightly. Even with the governor, you know, that's just the way she goes. So you want it running about a half load. So the furnaces, it's called a disc furnace, it just caught my eye. That's 1500. This is 1500 full load watts. That's any space heater. We can't go more than that because you got to pull less than 13 amps at 13.5 amps, I think, at the outlet for a 15 amp circuit. Anyway, long story short, 3000 is more than halfway. But this one has two settings. I'm going to assume one is 750. So let's load it up with the 1500, the 750 together, and then I'm going to see what I have while I adjust the governor. So what I'm finding is it's very difficult to plug in my probes. I have two heaters plugged in here. You wouldn't really want to take it all off of one, because then you're only taking it off one leg of the generator, and that's not a fair test. So
Three-way plug, you know, would put them both in there, and then I could get my meter in the other socket, but that doesn't give you a true test of what's going on. So I am just going to test just to one side, one heater, adjust my thing, and we will be close enough. Oh, that one's not plugged in. There we go. Try to get everything in frame here. Straight in here is the adjustment screw. So I'm going to put this on her. Hoping you can see that in the camera. 60.4 right now. 60.6, 60.2. And this is with the 1500 watt load. So it's always above. I don't even have half a load on the generator yet, so under a full load, it would go less than this. So it's 60.5, 61, dancing around. That's going to be close enough for me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, finally, one that was easy to fix, didn't need any work on the electrical side, and the engine was as tight as I was hoping it was going to be. It was not used much, I have a feeling. I still have to track down a new fuel shutoff for this thing, the fuel petcock, or rebuild the one I've got if absolutely necessary. I'm sure I can drill out those little two rivets and put a new O-ring in somewhere, but I can't believe that this part would be that hard to find, but the fact that they sent the wrong one makes me think it might be. So anyway, I think we got a winner here. So as many times as you lose by gambling on used equipment that's been mis-stored or stored for long periods of time or unknown, real story, I'm going to call this one a win. So with the exception of a proper fuel shutoff, I'm going to call this one Wildwood certified. Thanks for watching. Ow! Who would have thought that would be on there that tight? Bring it back. For those that have had the patience of watching the video all the way through, I appreciate that. And I'll give you a quick tip on these. Just if you're ever running it at full load, or let's say past half load, the generator head has copper in there. It gets pretty heated. You don't really want to shut it down under full load. What I mean is there'll be residual heat still in there. After you shut it off, the fan can't cool. It might you know, get overly hot, whereas the fan would have cooled it off, you know, incrementally while running. Don't run them all the way out of gas under full load if possible, and don't shut it off under full load if possible. It'll just prolong the life of every single component inside that generator head. The voltage regulator, the windings, the insulation on the armature, everything would be subject to overheating possibly if you were under heavy load. So just a little tip there.